I've been waiting for this movie for over a year. I don't mean that like I saw the trailer a year ago and was like, oh, I can't wait. Like that's usually what happens, right? That's not what happened in this case. That would be forgivable. What happened was this film was released at South by Southwest, which is like a American film festival, in March of 2023, and it got heaps of praise, uproarious reviews. People absolutely loved it, and then like fucking Harold Holt, it just bailed, like never to be heard of. Like I had no idea when it was going to come out. There was no idea if anyone had picked it up at all. Apparently, Shudder has now, but like we didn't know if it was coming out on streaming. All I had was that there was this awesome film that's coming out possibly sometime, which is so, it was frustrating. All I had to go on was the oily dish rag of smug Reddit commenters who had been at South by Southwest and were like, oh yeah, what a fucking great film, one of the best films ever. So annoying. But the worst part about all of this secrecy is it's a fucking Aussie movie. It's Australian. This is an Australian film. It was directed by Australian horror duo, the Cairnes brothers, and it was filmed in Melbourne. And it was released in America first. Hey, stop that, you cheeky little boys. Huh? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, what about the home team? So when I finally got the chance to see it this week on its Australian release schedule, after a lot of like harumphing and playing hard to get, I was a bit like, well, fucking don't even care about us anymore, huh? I see how it is. I had to admit, it's really fucking good. This is really fucking good. It's awesome. I'm not glad I had to wait, but it's worth it. It was worth the wait. You should go see this one in the cinemas. Like, give this your money. David Dastmalchian is finally getting his due as a horror lead after being years of relegated to like creepy weird guy in everything from The Dark Knight to Prisoners, which is a fucking amazing film. I saw it for the first time last year. If you haven't seen Prisoners, check it out. To Suicide Squad, he's Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad. If you don't know who I'm talking about, just Google Late Night with the Devil. The first face that'll come up, you'll go, oh, it's that guy that's in everything. He's the weird guy. Yes, he's the weird guy. He absolutely loves, David Dastmalchian absolutely loves horror cinema. He would make an amazing horror host, and I'm absolutely stoked he got it, because he's perfect in this. It's like watching the weird kid from your school who's really into horses one day make the Olympics for equestrian. You're like, fuck, I hope it was worth it, being the weird guy for so long. But fuck, I'm happy for you, man. You did it. You showed him what weird can do. Just do it over there. Don't come near me. No, I'm just kidding. I love David. I fucking love David. I think he's awesome. I'm really hoping this kicks off a string of leading roles, because he's a beautifully artistic soul, and horror is way, way richer with him leading from the front. So, I just adore him. I love him. Quick, Jake, it's getting too poetic in here. Say something cool. Shit. Now, the big, shiny, metallic elephant in the room is the use of AI in this movie. The directors came forward and said that they used AI to create 3 of the Night Owl's title cards that were then zhuzhed up by the graphic design team. People are losing their fucking minds over this, which is a shame, because I think this is just about as ethically as you can use AI in a film, right? Now, they declared it. They let everyone know they used it. They didn't try to fucking hide it, like some films do, right? Like some people try to pass off. I'm in so many art and graphic design Facebook groups where people go, oh, look what I made. And you're like, dude, this is Mid-Journey all over it. They declared it. They let everyone know they used it. They used it as a starting point. And then they brought their artists in to touch it up to fit like the grainy 70s theme better. They didn't replace anyone. They didn't fire anyone. They didn't bring someone back to life to perform a concert or do a stand-up routine. Come on, Sasso. They just used it to free up a bit of time in the designer's schedule to work on something else. That's the vibe I got. Now, I will make this very clear. I don't particularly like the use of AI in film. I love my cinematic experiences handcrafted, right? I like them farm to table. I don't want weirdly proportioned six-fingered people unless they're meant to be there and lovingly crafted by five-fingered people. But I do think that by attacking these guys after they've gone, hey, we used AI, here's what it was for, here's why we did it, like, you should be pointing your anger at big corporate scumbags who are using it to get rid of your favorite sales team or admin staff or whatever. Like, that's, your ire should be there. Now, I get that it's a hot button topic at the moment, especially with the strikes. But they're not trying to use someone's voice or face in perpetuity. They're not trying to deep fake anything. They're not doing it, which I know some bigger production companies have been trying to do, and fuck you. But that's not what these guys are doing. So, I don't love the use of AI in film. However, if you are going to use it, declare it. Don't take anyone's job by doing it. This looked like it could have been done. I looked at the title cards. I'm not a graphic design expert. I'm a web designer. I'm half decent at it. I could have put them together quite quickly. I really think they were just fucking playing around with it. And they didn't try to hide it, so I like that. Points for honesty. Late Night with the Devil it's like a send-up of 70s talk shows. Back when everything was like a tasteful shade of brown or beige, and smoking was good for you. Guys, remember? Dastmalchian plays Jack Delroy. He's the host of Night Owls. It's a late-night variety show, and it is in direct competition with Johnny Carson. Unfortunately for Jack, things are going poorly as his dear wife Madeline dies of terminal lung cancer, despite being possibly the only non-smoker in the 70s. And he is just getting fucking belted in the Nielsen ratings. Now, warning, this could be very confronting if someone you know is currently in end-of-life care. First of all, if that is the case, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sending you all my love. It is so tough. Please, 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 please look after yourself. I feel your pain. I know it's very difficult. You cannot look after anyone unless you look after yourself. So if you want to show up for someone else who is in end of life of care, please take care of yourself. Take some time out for yourself. I actually drove directly from the hospital after visiting someone who is currently in palliative care for lung cancer. And then I went straight from there to the cinema to watch this because I did not know it was a plot point. And their relationship is so sweet, so it did choke me up a little bit. But that is obviously because currently that is very raw for me. So, fair warning, so it doesn't happen to you. That is a plot point in this. Be warned. With his back against the proverbial wall, Jack throws all his hopes into a special spooky Halloween special, complete with psychics, James Randi-like skeptics, and even a possessed girl named Lily. Guys, I don't know how to say this. It's not going to be easy to hear, but if you are thinking of bringing a possessed person onto your late night talk show in front of a live audience, it's a fucking great idea. It's a great idea. Nothing can go wrong. Only the best things can happen from there. And if you watch this film, you'll find out for yourself. Oh, great idea. 12 out of 10. Big brain idea. It is possibly one of the best. This is possibly one of the best. I'm going to say found footage because it is. It is shot like a found footage film, even though we see a bit of the behind the scenes bits. It is shot like from a camera. Our view is basically from a camera most of the time. This is one of the best found footage to come out of Australia, as both the show and Jack spiral and mysteries are uncovered piece by piece. We get to be front row, and it's awesome. Have a crack at the trailer.
Well, Night Owls, we've got a heck of a show in store for you tonight, and I'm very excited for you to see it all unfold before your very eyes. I really hope you love it. Gosh, I hope you love it. Please love it. Love it.
I'm trying to host a nationally syndicated talk show.
And I'm trying to help you keep it on the air.
We all know how important it is to keep our sponsors and affiliates happy, but in my humble opinion, there is only one person who really matters in this whole darn crazy business. And that is you, our viewer.
You're meddling with things you don't understand.
Whoa! Now, as you know, here on Night Owls, we think it's very important to keep an open mind. Please welcome Dr. June Ross Mitchell and Lily, the young subject of the book, Conversations with the Devil.
I really don't think it's a good idea, Jack. She's becoming more unpredictable.
That's a good thing. That's why we still do live TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for a live television first as we attempt to commune with the devil.
This entire movie's framing device is just brilliant. It puts you firmly in the seat and mindset of the audience by using TV's 4:3 aspect ratio. Like, it feels like you're watching a live TV event at home, just waiting for some stuff to happen. The effect is then doubled if you're in a cinema, because if you're watching a cinema, you sort of feel like you're in the live audience of the show, because you can hear them, and it just feels like you're there. You're all there going, oh, what craziness is about to happen. It really sucks you into the story if you watch it that way. I fully felt like I was watching some fucked up, weird 70s variety talk show on YouTube, and Dastmalchian is just he's just perfect. He's perfect as Jack, man. He's got that suave, sort of off-putting energy, and I know he's actually hosted he has hosted some horror award shows, so he actually has been a host, and he brings that energy into this role. It's on full show here. It's awesome. As the story progresses from somewhat awkward to downright spooky, you can feel the set slowly reaching boiling point. The crew starts getting a bit more nervous. Cameras start moving around a bit more. Gus, Jack's offsider, played by Reese Atari, he starts voicing his concerns, and Jack's just we're going forward. He's just blinded by his need for fame. He keeps trying to plow ahead, and as shit's just hitting the fan. When you finally get to the main event of the night, which is the possessed girl Lily, you can, I could feel pretty much my whole cinema crowd, leaning forward in their seats, because you get this sense of morbid curiosity. You're like, where is this going to go? Why have you done this? What demonic shenanigans are going to happen? Ingrid Torelli, who plays Lily, is just top-tier creepy girl. Top-tier creepy girl performance. She does this thing where she's constantly trying to stare down the barrel, she's doing this, and then she's like, oh, there you are. She spots you. She looks down the barrel of the camera, and it works really well because she's a little girl, so she's not comfortable in a studio audience. So you're trying to work out are you doing that because you don't know how to be in front of camera, or are you doing that because you're trying to stare into my soul? It's sinister. More than once, I shifted in my seat because she looked at me and I was like, oh, please stop looking at me. She really should do oh, there you are. And it's good. It really works. It creeps me out. I got a little bit goosebumps just thinking about it. The movie does get pretty psychedelic by the end of it, and I can see some people not liking that. It does get a bit abstract, and there is a really dodgy CGI, I don't want to say lightning, but it's more electricity effect that didn't work for me. But it's a 70s TV, it's a 70s talk show, so it doesn't really you're like, oh yeah, crappy CGI, like the 70s. This is a fun watch at the movies. This is fun. This is more the first Omen. You go in and it's a fucking ghost train. It is quite full on and creepy and lots of blood and gore. This is just, it's not that scary. It's just a fun horror watch. If you like The Exorcist or you're into watching those old clips on YouTube of shit going wrong on live TV, I know I've watched a few of them, this should be firmly at the top of your watch list. It's awesome, and I know it's coming to Shudder, so if you really don't want to see it in movies, you can see it streaming soon. It's actually, I'd be interested to see, because I saw it in the movies, but it might actually work even better on TV, because you're like sitting at home watching this fucked up variety show. So if you do end up watching it at home, let me know what you think. It's not overly scary or gory. It's just deeply unsettling. It's trying to pull off audience-friendly vibes. Like, they're really like, oh, the show must go on. Sorry about that. Don't worry about that. Everything's fine. And it's like that the whole way through. It's one of the most interesting found footage horror films I've ever seen. So, points for that for sure. I recommend watching this if you like the original Exorcist. There's a lot of homages to the Exorcist in this, right down to the makeup. If you're a David Dastmalchian fan and want him to be a lead in more horror because he's a sweet, sweet boy, he's a sweet little horror baby, and we need to catapult him into stardom, this is a good way to do that. If you love horror with the side of dark comedy, this is very Aussie horror, very Aussie comedy. It's really good. It's really good. It's fucking pitch black dark comedy, especially when you work out what's going on. You're like, whew. I don't recommend watching this if you want like full-on scary found footage. Go watch like Gonjam, Haunted Asylum, or like the first Paranormal Activity, or The Taking of Deborah Logan. All very good scary found footage. If scenes of end-of-life care are going to be triggering for you currently, give this one a pass for a bit. Maybe let it breathe a bit. And when you're less raw, maybe come back to it. Or you could find it very cathartic. You have to make that decision. If you absolutely hate late-night talk shows, like can't even stand to fucking hate watch them, stay away from this one. This is literally, you are just watching a late-night talk show. That's how it feels at points. It is that realistic. If you hate when horror takes a turn to like psychedelic or weird abstraction right at the end, maybe stay away from this one. If you like it straight down the line, it does it really well, and I liked it a lot, because when I worked out what was going on, I was like, oh, this is pretty fucked up. Like, it gets real Twilight Zone, but I know that's not for everyone. All in all, if this sounds like up your alley, please support this movie. Like, it is a small Aussie film. Please, please, please support this movie. It's interesting, and it's beautifully executed, and that's rare in horror. Often you get these really interesting concepts that don't quite get executed well, or you have this really, really good, really well executed horror movie we've seen 700 times. This is interesting, and it's beautifully executed, and for that, it deserves your support. If you like this but were hoping to be more terrified, I said it before, check out Gonjam Haunted Asylum. It's a Korean film. It's about basically ghost hunters going in and checking out a haunted asylum. I think it's the scariest found footage ever. To me, I think it might be. I think it's the scariest found footage ever. It scared the fucking soul out of me. It's terrifying. If you want to crack at something a bit more modern, that's still the same sort of theming, like about greed and the cost of fame, have a crack at Deadstream. It came out recently. It's about an obnoxious, cancelled YouTuber who tries to get his viewers back by staying in a haunted house. And it's hilarious, and it's super cathartic watching this slimy main character just fucking squirm and get the shit scared out of him. And he's just a real piece of work, and it's awesome for that. As always, thanks for watching. You guys are the best, especially if you watch to the end. You're an absolute legend. I appreciate all the watch time. And I hope to see you next week for another review. Peace.